Okay, so basically the
Shut up.
background,
Shut up.
the
Shut up. It's my time to speak.
okay,
Yeah, that's what I thought.
okay.
Um,
Hi and welcome to the Ruby Tuesday. My name is Ruben, and your name is?
Sam.
I have my son with me today because we're doing an anime review. I hope you like it. It is Bright Samurai Soul. Let us know in the comments down below if you're excited about this. Have you seen the original Netflix film with Will Smith? Let's jump into it. Izou, a Ronin, and Raiden, an orc, work to bring a young elf girl and the one she carries to the land of the elves in the north. Directed by, you have to pronounce his name.
Kyohei Ishiguro.
Yeah, Kyohei Ishiguro, words bubble up like Soda Pop and Psycho Pass.
Wait, he made, well...
Directed both by him. So going on that alone, you should be excited to watch this. But
I didn't know he did that.
but did we enjoy it?
The storyline at the very beginning of the movie seems a little bit rushed. The pacing is kind of all over the place. There's a couple scenes where it's flawless. Dialogue just kind of narrates the scene of what's going on. I'm not going to spoil it. The audio in the background, it just, everything fits together. And the pacing in the scene following that is all over the place. At 1 second they're talking, the next they're throwing things behind them. The music kind of juxtaposes what you are actually watching.
But you really liked it. You liked it.
I did like the music.
score.
I did.
Yeah.
I did really like the music. I liked a lot of the bass that was playing, and it reminded me a lot of the fight scenes in my favorite anime, Jujutsu Kaisen, which, if you know anything about me, I completely adore that. And kind of watching those specific fight scenes, especially inside of the buildings, just made me almost shiver. Because it's rare that I see 3D animation done in a way that works like that, especially when you see the two main protagonists, Raiden.
Yeah.
Not Raiden. Raiden. When they kind of like initially meet for the first time, and the music starts to go quiet as they start speaking a little bit, but then they focus on fighting, and there were a few longer scenes while they were just moving about and trying not to die. In comparison to a lot of other anime where it's all very flashy, quite like the almost realism, though still fairy tale.
A lot of people are going to be going into this thinking about the original film and wondering how much it is like that. Obviously, it's set in samurai time, so the locations is very different, but it does have a very similar story, similar characters. I was disappointed because I didn't see a lot of the fantasy elements that we get to see in the film. And so I know a lot of people didn't like the film, but what worked in the film was that you got to see the real world. It was a real hybrid world where fantasy creatures lived with humans. It just felt very
Like
tangible.
with the fairies being critters.
Yes,
things
yeah.
like that,
There's a
yeah.
lot of things where you just see them living day to day. There's racism. That is in this, but minutely. There isn't a lot to kind of draw your attention to. Every scene that you get feels empty. So you get your fight sequences,
Didn't
but
we
they're...
only see 4 races total? No, 5 races total.
Yeah, but even with the races that you see, there isn't a lot to work with what's going on around the world. So it doesn't feel lived in. It just feels like they've used the 3D to get the story out, but they haven't had time or the budget to put things in the background. There's one...
That is what you mentioned earlier, yeah.
There's one particular thing, an action sequence on a boat. It just feels like an empty shell of a boat. We have an action sequence with it, even in the cockpit. There's nothing that's been plastered on the walls to make it look like there's any scratches or indents. It doesn't feel real, doesn't feel tangible. It just feels like a model that you're watching, and so you know it's not real. So it doesn't
world
draw
doesn't
you
seem
in.
like it just came out of a war.
There's a lot of stories, something you mentioned at the beginning, that they had to get across. They had to basically thrust you in the world. And this was a lot of people's complaint about the first film, is where you're literally dropped into this world where everything is just happening. I personally really liked that. That's what I liked about it. I don't necessarily need an origin story. This one tends to kind of do the same thing, but the pacing of it is so slow that every time there's a bit of story, everything is drawn out. There's a lot of mise en scene, as they say. They show everything, but there's not a lot of everything to show. The voice work is fine. The direction, I think, is good in comparison to the artwork, because you know what you're going to get when you get words bubble up like Soda Pop or Psychopaths. Those are excellent. They look visually stunning. And that's one positive we can probably say about this. It looks visually stunning.
The colours were very beautiful, and every scene seemed like its own thing. It didn't try and copy anything else from anything else I've seen, obviously.
Also, once again, it feels like an anticlimax to me. Again, with the original film, Bright, you had great action sequences, and you get to that end, and it kind of goes, oh, is that where they're going with it? This one felt the same for me as well. There were great action sequences at the beginning. A particular Shogun battle. The camera is following them around. At some stages, you're almost following as if you're the eye of a character, which is great, and then you get to see the movements taking out multiple opponents at the same time. Awesome. You get to the end, and it's like, okay, I saw where this was going. You kind of guess what's going to happen. You're hoping that it's going to go another direction. There's also some character motivations that you're like, would they really do that? That's a weird way for you to have gone. I'll leave you to discover that for yourself. But all in all, I was like, I love anime and I love fantasy. And I was one of the few that loved the original film. I think you enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well, yeah.
So this may not make you go, yeah, rush to it. I think you could put it in the background if you enjoy anime. If you don't enjoy anime and you didn't enjoy the original film, you might not enjoy this one.
Yeah, if you didn't like the original film and you're not the biggest fan of anime or 3D animation in general, I would steer away from it if I were you.
I'm going to give this 2.5 Nicolas Cages out of 5. What would you give it?
Ooh, I'm going to say 3.5 out of 5.
Okay, so you enjoyed it more than me.
Yeah.
Cool.
Then again, I was also the one who was giggling half the time, just going like, ooh, that's cool.
I think you're more giggling because of the character designs, which were good.
They were very good.
Yeah.
There's a lot of detail that went into the characters, that's for sure.
We just needed more of them doing weird stuff.
More life in the characters.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this film once you've seen it. What were you hoping to see? Did you like the original Will Smith film? Because apparently we're still getting a sequel.
We are?
Yep. Thanks so much, but most of all, until next time, remember, live long and Tuesday.